All right, dudes. Garden
Wow.
report. Celtics are hot. Celtics are
So hot right now.
one more game going into the break. Is that right, Bobby?
Yeah, Toronto. And they'll probably be undermanned.
A vastly undermanned Toronto team. A
Is that
win
game gonna
tonight over
happen?
LA assures they're not going into the All-Star break as a sub-500 team. So that's something to be happy about. Celtics beat the Clippers 117-112. There's a fair amount to talk about in this game. A really good offensive game overall. Good performances, certainly Kemba. Tatum, not so much. Good stuff from Rob, good stuff from Tristan. Just generally just good offense. Just one of those nights where it just felt like nobody was going to miss all night, both ends of the floor. Bobby, why don't you get us started? And just so everybody knows, Josue Pavone is here. He did a CLNS Instagram takeover. So he's been all over social media. He's probably doing some crazy Instagram stuff right now, adding to his garden story, but he's going to join us hopefully
From the dungeon
soon. So we will get Josue in, but we'll hold the fort until he gets back. So Bobby, what's up? First thoughts here.
Well, I guess we'll do Kemba. He came out scorching and was pretty hot throughout this one. I thought those back-to-back threes in the second half were the key moment of this game that gave the Celtics a multiple possession lead that they ultimately had for the rest of the game there once they hit those. And then it became a rebounding battle the rest of the way. I thought the Celtics were pretty dreadful on the boards for most of this game, and shout out to you guys. Robert Williams came in and made all the difference there. He was a rebounding machine, as he has been for most of this season. But on Kemba, I mean, what are we talking about at this point? Like 10 games now, somewhere between 8 to 10 games in a row where he has been himself at the very least. Maybe not his most exceptional, definitely not his lower rung of production. Somewhere in between. He's been steady. He's been fairly consistent, I'd say. Double-figure scoring every single game now for 8 straight games. His last one was the 7-point dud against Utah. A few nights off in between, a few monster games off of those nights off, 25, 28, 32. So we see when he's fresh, when he's well managed at this point, he's going to be able to give you Kemba production. I think we're able to say that. He's had
two, like those two
Here we go.
monster games, which would be
28 and 32,
the 28 and 32. The 28, again, we wrote off, but that was a Trae Young game, but it didn't matter. That's the first game I feel all season that he looked, like himself, like not just because I think we've been grading him on a bit of a curve. I don't think he didn't just look like pretty good Kemba. I thought he looked like, kind of like upper level Kemba in that, and then the 32-point game. Those are the two games this season where you can point to and be like, I don't see a huge drop off between last year. Those two more than any others. Every other, I think we're looking for it, or maybe, like I said, grading it a bit on a curve. But there's no question the last 10 versus the previous 10, there's just fewer clunkers in there, and that's the key. It felt like in the early going, he'd have a 18-point game, 22-point game where he'd shoot close to 50%, and then he'd have a 3 for 18 game. You're seeing fewer of those, which is huge right now.
Yeah, I agree. You can make the case. You can
the inconsistency. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if I'm on a delay or something. I was going to say you could easily make the case.
No,
I think John's on delay.
Okay, something's up with the delay, right? John, are you good?
Talk.
I'm talking.
Just fire away, Jimmy. Fire away. Don't hold back.
As long as John's like, okay, I'm just going to start talking. I think over the last 9 games, we'll say easily, Kemba's the best player on the Celtics, right? By far, in my estimation. Jayson Tatum is playing borderline bad. Jaylen Brown has regressed somewhat from, I knew John was screwy.
He's just sipping his water, in a different world.
He's like, talk. I was like, dude, I've been talk. Anyways, Kemba Walker has sort of slid in here and has believe it or not, the stable one of the bunch. And, the whole knock on Kemba when he first came back to the team was this guy is so inconsistent. He's so streaky. He can't shoot. He's lost his shot. They can't play him the way they want. I mean, every time he's playing now, he's right up around that 30-minute marker. I know he's not playing back-to-backs, but he's right up around that 30-minute marker. More so than not, the shot is starting to fall. And it's not just the shot, it's the way he's moving out there. It's the drives to the rim, getting to the line, the activity, more so than just what was his field goal percentage. Yeah, he's still going to have the, 5 for 16 night or something like that once in a while. That's never going to go away. That's always been who he is, That's an NBA scorer, an NBA shooter. You get those. But generally speaking, you're not cringing when the shot goes up. You're not saying, don't shoot it. You kind of are at the point where, welcome back, John. Can you hear us? Oh, boy.
I'm afraid to talk.
Whoa, you're coming in hot.
Are you?
Yeah, I don't think John has us. I don't think he can hear us.
I hear everything.
Oh, you got it?
He's just, right. I think he did shrooms or something. He's just a little behind everything. So we'll keep it moving. John, what I was saying while you were gone was that Kemba Walker, you can say whatever you want about him, but he's been their most consistent player, believe it or not, over the last, let's just call it 9 or 10 games, or you can probably even go back a few more. I'm not going to repeat everything I said, but that generally sums up what I was saying.
Yeah,
so
I've heard everything.
And so this,
okay.
Literally, I see you. Your lips are moving. I hear the words as they're coming out of your mouth. You're not getting.
You're just,
yeah.
So you're just weird.
No, we got
you fine. We get you fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're good now. All right, so we're all good. You know what it is?
Were talking, I think. Yeah.
It's a little hot, but it sounds good, John.
No, it's fine.
My thing on.
I think what it is John probably just didn't want to hear it because John's still at the point where he almost doesn't want to believe what he sees with Kemba Walker. He's very skeptical still.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's actually.
Am I coming in hot? Because I'm about to come in hot.
You're good. So let me forecast it, John. What are you gonna say? His percentages are in the low 40s, right?
I'm gonna say nothing.
Perfect.
Honestly, I don't know.
Moving on.
What's that?
Perfect. Moving on then.
No, I'm gonna say the same thing I've been saying all along. I'm not nitpicking Kemba. Let's not lose our minds here. He's still a slightly lesser version of what we saw last year at his best. Right now, he's
scoring 20 points every game.
What I'm saying is, again, at his best, we're seeing roughly. That's a few glimpses. We're seeing flashes of what we saw last year, but you'd still say this version of Kemba, even if it's taking in the whole package, is a slightly diminished version of last year's Kemba. But that doesn't matter. If he was 90%, 95%, everybody walks away with a huge smile on their face. My Kemba concerns from the beginning of the year is this is 3 more years left on a contract for a guy who's been shut down a couple of times. My worry is he doesn't make it either through this year or through next year, or to the point where all of a sudden you've got this massive liability in the latter years of the deal. So if you can find a way to deal him for anything close, I would have pulled that trigger. That's always been my Kemba take. I never didn't expect him coming back and looking pretty good for teams or playing in stretches last year. He looked good last year. Then he got shut down. Then he came back in the bubble. He looked pretty good. And then he limped to the finish. That's the worry. You just don't want to see one of these days, oh, you know what? He's going to sit out 3 games, 4 games. That's when you start to get worried. At this point, they're fine. It's to plan. They're managing him. He's missing backs. On the days that he gets a little bit of rest, he's come back and he's looked fresher. So right now the management works. If it's sustainable over the course of the season, we all win. Great. Victory for everybody.
So far,
I think
it feels
Josue's
like
joining
it's
us here.
Damn, you guys are fired up. You were so fired up, John. You would think that Kemba just played an awful night. Where's your positivity?
I said,
where's his positivity? Let me know.
It's just great play right now over his last 10 games. We're talking about like 45% from 3, mid 40s from the field. Who cares? We know he's had struggles inside, but you see how that goes over a longer stretch, because honestly, the line just keeps. What direction am I going here? Up. Every single game, it's a little bit better. and it's progress, and it's. I think we all agreed coming into the season, John, that we were never going to see all-star Kemba again. That first month and a half or so that he was here, when he was the face of the team, on the ball all the time, getting all the shots, that's gone not only because of his own health and slight decline, but because of the role Tatum and Brown are playing. It's got to be more shared. It's got to be more collective. So this is like the high end. We're talking
John,
like
you don't
90%
get it.
That's fine,
right now.
but again, we have to look at the whole picture. In the same way, we weren't going to judge that poorly when he looked like he was moving well and shots weren't just. Wait, what's going on, man?
Sorry. Trying to get a better shot. All right,
no, for real.
He's trying to get some light in the shot this time.
The same way, I like what Josue's doing. The same way we weren't going to freak out on nights he moved well and wasn't hitting shots, okay? Are we going to forget every single thing that you guys said as well along the way, which is he holds the ball a little bit too long. He's got to play off ball a little more. He's a little too ball dominant. You need the ball in the Jays' hands. He's a defensive liability.
So that's the
this
question.
Is what you guys are saying about
No, that's
him.
a different question.
You have to still – you take the whole package into consideration, and then you have a guy who coming into this week had a negative net rating overall in terms of his play. So, again, this is the Kemba you need to see, because the issue is if he's not scoring, he has negative value. When he's scoring like this, absolutely, it's huge, especially for a team that doesn't have guys who can create their own offense. And it's huge. And I think one thing we noticed here is I think Brad's got to really try hard to make sure that 2 of 3 of those guys are on the court as much as possible and stress that fact. Because I think the offenses that only have one of the big 3 at a time is where they really start to stagnate. So, but when Kemba's not going, you're screwed. Now we haven't gotten to Tatum, which we will eventually, but you absolutely have to have Kemba being an offensive force to have any chance of this team being successful. So absolutely you take this. Josue, you haven't had a chance to weigh in on anything.
I mean, I understand your concern, John, but I think that this team is in a position where they don't have to rely on Kemba to close out the game. I think if that was the case, I think if they had to rely on Kemba to be fourth quarter Kemba to win games, then yeah, that would be a humongous problem. But does this team win tonight without Kemba doing this? No. So, your point is valid because they needed that tonight. It made all the difference, his scoring in particular. But I think what's most important for Kemba is to obviously finish in the paint, get to the free throw line. I think when he's doing that more often, I'm less concerned. 12 three-pointers is a bit concerning. I'm with you, John. It's a lot of threes. That's when I start to worry that Kemba isn't confident enough to finish in the paint when he starts relying on three-point shooting. But at least this time around, he was doing other things. 6 assists, 6 rebounds, like filling the stat sheet. Defensively, John, I know you probably overlooked this on a high note, but he got a defensive stop on Paul George. That three-pointer, that counts, John. That's a stop.
I like his defense. I do.
So he's finding ways to be effective in other facets of the game.
And the passing. Let's talk about the passing.
What happened to Jalen tonight?
We'll get to that in a minute, but the resurgence of the ball movement is due to Walker. He largely has been on the ball popping in these last few minutes.
When Kemba ramped it up, we lost Jalen at some point. It's that whole
true, but
that's
a different conversation, though. That would be an issue even if Kemba was 100%.
No, I see what you're picking at. What are you saying? Did he get in the way a bit? Because at halftime, when I did my report, I'm saying,
I don't know.
Jalen's going off.
About Jalen.
Yeah, because you did, but I knew Kemba was. We all did, right? You could see it in that second quarter. In my report, I'm like, yeah, Jalen's is the talk of the first half, but Kemba's warming up and look out. So yeah. I think when Kemba started heating up, Jalen sort of stepped back a bit.
Started 6 of 6 for Brown, and then he finished 2 of 8. Yeah, 2 of 8.
Yeah.
So my thing, my.
But again, I'm thinking about Kemba's performance tonight. Kemba's performance tonight is exactly what you needed. You don't win this game without him tonight. There's no question. But go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, I think we're kind of jumping around a little bit. Like, John, you're kind of focusing on like the overall Kemba experience, like not you're thinking so far. You're thinking like about year 4 right now, where it's like, well, why don't we just focus on this game and the last few games? And he's gonna play Thursday. They have an All-Star break coming up, and like so far, he looks healthy, and that's why I'm off the hook on my apology already, because I think he's already proven at least what my initial concerns were going to be, that we were going to get a guy that was just going to be, 60% and playing 20 minutes or, less. And so like for that, at least we're not getting that. So I'm way less concerned about the future than I am like the present. And honestly, like with Kemba Walker, the way he's playing right now, I mean, this team would be so much worse off if he needs to be the alpha on this team. And maybe we all jumped ahead and thought that this was Jayson Tatum's team and Jaylen Brown's team a little too soon. I mean, these guys are still pretty young. They do show up in spurts, but they're not consistent either. Everyone wants to criticize Kemba Walker's inconsistency. Who's been more consistent than Jayson Tatum recently? You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I will get into Tatum.
We will, but I just want to finish by saying, it's a good thing that it's an obvious good thing that Kemba Walker's stringing together these performances. And I know he's not playing the second night of back-to-backs, and I'm okay with that until he's,
it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I'm fine with it based on the way these guys, based on the way some of these guys look, like Tatum and Brown, they should probably be sitting out some more games than what they've been sitting out, because they look beat up out there half the time. So I'm okay with the minutes management, and I just think, listen, we said it before the season. If Kemba Walker can't come back and be close to Kemba Walker, this team has no chance. And we saw that a number of times this season when he wasn't playing or when he wasn't himself. So the fact that he's very close, now the ball goes back to Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Where are these guys? Because now it seems like you said, John, can they all coexist?
Well, and again, I just want to close the loop on the Kemba, because it's an annoying conversation. Every single time he has a good game, it's John.
He's had 10 good games in a row.
I'm saying, nor do I think he's capable of good games, nor is my takeaway from this game, wait till year 4 of the contract. I don't give a crap about that. I'm just simply saying when it's –
You just said that.
Hey, John, look.
I want to trade him now.
I'm literally saying all I said prior to the season was –
You said that in the group chat. You said in the group chat.
Yeah. All I said prior to the season was, I'm worried about this guy. I think his knee is messed up. I think Danny's trying to dish him. I would absolutely bail here. That's it.
I think
that's it.
I said from day one that was the wrong move, and I still think it is. Even if you were able to get like fair value for him right now, whatever you
GM's laughing at Ainge over it, So
yeah.
Come on,
whatever you think fair value is right now.
Conversation every time Kemba plays well. Kemba played great. Celtics need Kemba to play great. This was a great game. If you had this Kemba Walker all year long, you're thrilled. Okay.
Let me ask you again.
Yeah.
Let me ask you again, guys. If you could trade him for fair value right now, whatever you think that is, would you do it?
I don't know. That's
risky.
I don't like that question, because I don't know who it's gonna. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever you think the right return is
for Kemba.
Yeah,
it's a hard. How do you gauge that for this team though?
I'll throw out the one I brought up yesterday. If apparently
we're never gonna get it.
Oladipo's never going to re-sign in Houston. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. If the Celtics are dead set of getting away from Kemba Walker's contract, if they feel the same way John feels, where like we don't trust this guy's knee in year 3 and year 4, then you would look to get rid of that contract. If you can bring somebody in like Oladipo, and if you have to trade them something else to entice them to take Kemba Walker, whether some sort of pick package, would you?
But
make
you're
that
much
type of a
worse
trade?
then, aren't you? Like you're 10 times worse.
No, you're not. But you're not 10. Kemba Walker's 10 times better than Victor Oladipo?
What's Oladipo shooting this year? Like 30s?
39%.
Really bad.
Kemba's also shooting 39%.
Yeah, like
no, he's not.
Get away from the like stats for 1 second. I mean,
it doesn't matter the stats, but yes, Kemba coming into the game.
Oh, the reason I say it's hard to gauge that is because with this team, I mean, ideally, this is if this is going to be the regular Kemba or at least
8.7% coming into the game.
Yeah, I mean. Listen, I just think it's hard to replace someone like Kemba and plug in a similar value for this team, because the respect, I think all of that plays a part in his relationship with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So I don't know, man. I don't know if that's the solution. If you want to look long term, sure. Obviously that's the move, because we don't know when this knee's going to give out. But on the other side of things, short term, if this team wants to be successful this year, I don't know if bringing in another point guard right now is the best thing for this team in this situation.
Well, that's the
Agreed.
thing. I'm just talking. Listen, and that's what you have to decide. Are you designing your team for just this year or for the future? So that's part of the decision making. And I'm not advocating for the trade. I'm just throwing out a player instead of just saying,
it's a realistic
fair
thing,
value.
Yeah, it's
I
a
think-
realistic trade.
It's too tempting not to, keep it going with Kemba at the point, the way he's playing right now.
Yeah, I still think he's a great fit for this team. I think he allows you to get, third star production while also, maintaining Tatum at the least. We do have to have that Brown conversation because it does feel like they kind of run into each other at certain points. So that would be an argument against him at one point.
And again, I'm not arguing against
in a
him.
vacuum. I like all three of
You got
them.
to figure it out. These guys have to figure it out.
Yeah.
This dude goes, don't talk about trades. We just won.
No, but again, I watch this team, guys, and this is what drives me crazy every night when you're like, just see how it goes. You're going in the crunch time, and I know Marcus Smart's out with Semi Ojeleye on the court. Like, really? I love Ojeleye. I think he's had a fantastic week, but your fifth man in crunch time cannot be Semi Ojeleye. There's just no way around that. Like I defend him as hard as anyone. I had to spend the whole day in my mentions talking about Ojeleye. It's like a year from now, I'm going to look back on this day and be like, that's what.
You know who's Bobby, you know who's a good upgrade for Ojeleye? At least for this season, for short term, Thaddeus Young. But that's just me. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't want to get started.
I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, we'll talk about Tatum at this point.
Well,
right?
last week it was Nesmith, and we saw what Luka did to him.
But what's Thaddeus Young make?
I think like 12 for 1.
To
something
me,
like that.
To me, the Thaddeus Young is if you can unload Tristan and a pick. There you could do it. You still preserve you still TPE. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be willing to do that and still hold on to the TPE as something that you could roll in.
Like a lateral move.
Well, that's what makes this. But that's what makes it so intriguing.
Thaddeus Young is better for
You-
this
you-
team
you can-
than Tristan.
you can,
But yeah,
you can trade for Thaddeus Young without using TPE. I mean,
Yeah,
exactly.
we're talking about the Chicago Bulls here. I mean, they're nowhere near the playoffs.
And you might be right, John. But again, even if it moves the needle like a centimeter forward, it's not going to be that drastic.
that's what I would do it because you're still preserving the TPE, which is an asset.
So he is
Exactly.
13. He's 13 million this year, which would be Thompson matched. Next year, it looks like he's got a
different skill set. Yeah,
he's
from that
got a
position.
non-guaranteed 14 next year, so you could also keep him for next year. It looks like if you wanted to.
Yeah,
You could lock him in.
yeah. So that'd be something. So I guess
Anyways.
we could
Put a bow on
transition.
Kemba.
We had a Tatum turn the corner game, and then we had a Tatum looks like ass game, which is
was pretty good at it late.
Which is frustrating and confusing to people because, and again, he did a thing or two late,
What do you mean,
but
Johnny?
he looked like he was moving.
Yeah, he turned it over twice in the final minute.
Oh,
hit
come
the
on!
tag.
that's
Twice
always
late. He almost
ridiculous.
cost him. He almost cost him that game with
Bad
the
turnover.
late stuff.
Yeah. Bad pass, driving into nothing, pass to nobody, and then the offensive foul call. And I know, Bobby, you're super against it, but he did lean into him. I mean, it could have been a no call, but they called it. They reviewed it, and then they confirmed it. So I don't know.
I don't like the way they handle those, though. The way they give it out, and again, this game could have gone in a different direction if that jump ball didn't go Boston's way, which it drives me crazy because of the fact that they call the foul. Rob has it.
Rob has a layup.
Why can't common sense prevail there? I know that's probably the rule, but it's a ridiculous rule that you go to jump ball in all these different situations. So again, we're seeing game after game in crunch time, replay, jump ball. There's no game. It's just like, oh, let's restart because we can't figure this out.
I think I know which comment.
Well, what's going on here?
What do you mean?
Like-
With connections?
No,
Oh, never mind. I thought you were gonna grab another one.
no. I didn't even look at the comments. But what's going on with what do you guys think here?
With Tatum?
I mean, yeah.
Somebody go.
I don't think it's something. I don't know, man. I don't think it's like the Clippers playing amazing defense on him, even though they did come out strong. I just think sometimes he gets in his own way. I don't know no other way to put it. I mean, everyone's talking about fatigue. Yeah, I guess you could point to that, but this homestand, I got to be honest with you. Heading into this one, I expected a big game from him, or at least something solid.
Slow.
Yeah, I expected him to be solid. Maybe it is the fatigue. Maybe he's really starting to set in. And it looked like he was going through the motions at some points, and I was honestly surprised to see that.
Yeah,
he looks frustrated. I hate playing the body language game, but he is.
Yeah.
He's got the sulky thing going on. He's frustrated. He's frustrated because he's not shooting well. But I mean, again, I tweeted, at one point during the game, he did that 1 foot fall away going against his body, shot and he missed it. And then he goes back and 3 touches later, he does the same exact thing. And the announcers were like, God, there's another really difficult shot from Tatum. I mean, they were just terrible shots. It just forces. But every time he went to move, everyone's like, we know you're going there. Or every time he pulled up, it's like, we know you're going to pass now. It really looks like it's absolutely slow. Like everybody on the court knows exactly what he's going to do before he does it. That's what it looks like to me. Jimmy, you're nodding.
Yeah, well, we've been saying this for the last few shows. I don't know, Josue, you were there in person, so maybe you have a better view of how it went out there. But we've been saying the last few shows, it just looks like he's moving in quicksand. It looks like the shot takes 10 minutes for it. It's like we said, it's like defenders kind of know what's coming.
Yeah, I was gonna say a little bit of that, and also that energy in the first half. I mean, that's the secret's out, right? It's like our what is it? Goodman's secret source told him, the secret's out. You charge out at Jalen, you charge out at Tatum, and you make the rest of the team beat you. And I definitely saw a lot of that in the Clippers' approach defensively. But I mean, I don't think they anticipated Kemba to light up like the way he did, or Jalen to get out to a hot start, and that really held them through into the halftime.
So yeah, Beverley's a tremendous.
This is kind of my fear.
I was going to say Beverley's a tremendous defender, and that plays a role in it. I feel like whoever he guarded tonight was going to be shut down completely. If he wanted to go the Kemba route, Kemba probably goes 3 for 12 in this game. So that guy is incredible.
How tall is Beverley?
He's short, but man, he gets up under you. He sits under your feet as you're shooting, as you're dribbling. The way he gets in the guys without fouling.
Shoot right over the top of that all game if you've got that.
I've played short. I've played short guys like that, and it can completely throw you off your game when a guy gets underneath you. But my overall point on him, though,
6'10" with a high release. That's a gift right there.
I get it, and your overall point
just turn and shoot
about this second quarter.
That's the only way he scores is just being taller.
With this whole second quarter drag he's on right now, it comes down to him having so much isolation, having so much pick and roll without the outlets for rollmen in front of him. I thought that stat from Sunday was so ridiculous that this team only throws in general the 5% of their rollmen. We all know about the ball movement issues around him, the way the offense is structured. I don't think it's doing him any service. And again, he's a phenomenal isolation player. This is probably even with how tired and beat down he is, the high end of what you would get from a player running isolation and pick and roll this much. Yeah, right
Tatum's
now,
ISO numbers are among the worst in the league.
Yeah, I think the whole system.
Tatum's isolation numbers are terrible.
I think the whole system just isn't suiting him well for that kind of style right now. They have to get things ramping up, moving a little bit, and in crunch time, you're seeing Kemba able to do that right now better than Tatum. So this goes back to my point from the postseason that. He has flashes of brilliance on the ball, being the lead ball handler of this team. But I think this year in particular, they need help. Whether it's Smart or outside guy, they need guys setting up the wings, the centers, shooters off the bench. They need a facilitator. And Kemba's done a phenomenal job the last 3-4 games. But even he probably isn't enough for a stretch run. The importance of Smart right now, whether it's defensively or offensively, is just through the roof. They need him so badly right now.
Bobby, I didn't know that you were a former. Were you the D1 or did you make it to EuroLeague when you were posting up
saying in general? Anytime
he stopped playing. He stopped playing at a level where he was still the tallest guy. That's got to tell you something.
Yeah.
Bobby's about 6 feet tall, and if he was the big guy when he was playing, that shows you how far it went.
He would have lasted longer, but these little guys just got to him. They made it uncomfortable for him.
It does, yeah. That's all I'm trying to give some context, an example for my playing days.
Yeah.
Oh man,
But,
I kind of agree with. I don't want to harp on Tatum too much because I feel like I'm repeating myself for every show now. Because unfortunately, he's stringing together these, whiff performances, and it's like, what's going on with this guy? And I know that Bobby, you had a pretty good article I read earlier today that you talked to Drew Hanlon a little bit about Tatum, and it sounded like he mentioned something about
he said
COVID
he's been
there.
horrible.
Yeah, why don't you give us the spark notes?
Yeah, I mean, if a guy in his camp's gonna say he's been horrible, then what are you gonna say to that? But the COVID thing's real. I think he thinks he's mentally psyching himself out right now more than a physical thing. We saw the missed dunk against Indiana. So right now, I think he just needs a mental rest. So that brings us to All-Star Weekend. He's going to be doing the 3-point contest. He's going to be playing that game, starting, probably playing heavy minutes out there. It feels like we talk about that every year. Would you rather have a guy just sitting out, relaxing and resting, or having like that star status of All-Star Weekend? I know John made the case against him being there, period. So that's going to be another lost day of rest. Yeah, it's going to be another lost day of rest for him. Travel on both ends. His All-Star break's going to be what, like 2 days altogether of resting?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and everyone's like, okay, Boomer, like, you don't want them to play. It's not so much like the minutes that he's going to play. It's an All-Star game. They're going 50%. We understand that it's not like that crazy of a thing. It's just like unnecessary. Home and chill. Yeah, it's just unnecessary travel, staying out late, all the stuff, all the stuff that goes along with it. And it's not to say they don't deserve it.
If they stay out late, there's going to be bigger issues.
They're going to be going. It's going to be some big COVID cocktail,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Something
I'm
will
telling
happen
you,
there.
Max doesn't believe me, but I'm like, you really think that club in Atlanta, the infamous club, Magic City is not going to have some sort of event that weekend? You're crazy.
Not just Magic City.
Yeah, of course. Kenny Smith's gonna do his annual party. He's gonna do all that. Like, it's gonna be it's not gonna be all over Instagram. But come on,
TNT headquarters.
You really think he's got exactly like they know everyone. They know the who's that all the venues. And, there's gonna be plenty of money to grab for those venues.
Every single major Atlanta rapper is hosting an event this weekend at every single club there. Like, they are going full speed ahead, and the mayor's saying, don't come. But all these clubs are like, come on in.
Come on. You don't think Jaylen Brown knows a couple hot spots in the city?
Oh, man. Him and Gucci will be chilling all weekend.
Come on.
I do think the league's going to clamp down in a big way, though. Like, they're going to shut down the hotel and make them come in and out. They might not even stay the night. They might get all those guys out of there because they can't risk this. They can't. All the stars.
They can't. They're not in the bubble, Bobby. They're not in the bubble. These are international waters, if you will. You're not in the bubble anymore. You can kind of come and go as you please, do what you want. The one thing I'll say
guys
about,
who are out, there's no Overwatch over them.
One last thing I'll question about Tatum is he being too hard on himself? Like, is he more aware than everyone that he's not playing well? And is he just piling on himself? And is that why he's frustrated out there? Is that why he's not really even smiling when he plays well? He's just like frustrated with everything, where he's just not having fun at all. But, it doesn't look like that anyways.
I think so. I think Tatum's the kind of scorer that he's not going to slow down, right? I mean, if he goes, 1 for 10, he's going to still take shots. I mean, I think that's a sign of a great scorer. But at times, I think Tatum's the type of person where other players or other superstars would try to do other things. I don't know if Tatum necessarily falls in that category, at least not yet, right? I mean, he can do a little playmaking, he can defend a bit, but his bread and butter is scoring, and when that's not there, he's not comfortable on the floor. I see that. I think we know enough from Tatum to notice that. It doesn't mean that he's out cold for the entire game. I mean, tonight's the best example of that, right? He hit those shots down the stretch. So I think because of that, he's never going to stop trying to regain his momentum because he knows that he can get it back at any time.
Is the value of what he could become going through this as a ball handler, as a lead guy in a team worth some of the struggles that I'm going to have to go through right now? I tend to say yes, but man, has it been a long, arduous process going back to last postseason. Again, I think his struggles in this role, in this spot, played a big role into them.
I don't think he makes
going
decisions
down
quick
early
enough.
in Miami. Yeah, and the pressure on him is so massive. You need to be an elite decision maker.
He does not make the decisions quick enough, and again, it doesn't mean he won't or can't. But he doesn't. When the doubles come, his instinct is to basically allow himself to get pushed out and to dribble further out instead of make that quick pass. He's got to recognize it before it comes and get it out fast. He just doesn't do it. It's definitely, everyone's making a big deal about his playmaking. Sure, like he's made some deep passes this year and done a couple things that you're like, oh, great vision on that. I just don't think he makes it quick, and he doesn't make it under pressure very well. And that's a problem with him being a primary ball handler in the offense. Real quick, I wanted to pivot to Jaylen. Just reading some of the post-game comments coming in here. Among them are someone in the comments put that said the knee was tweaking in the second. I haven't seen that, but what I have seen him say is his body hasn't felt 100% for a really long time. They asked him about the 3-point contest that he and Jayson are both going to be in, and he said he wanted to do the dunk contest, but his body's just not responding to him right now. What are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? I don't like. Go ahead. Call me like this raging boomer that wants to have the kids keep the kids from having fun. What are we talking about here? Like, if you're not feeling 100%, you absolutely sit out all-star games. This is what people do. You find excuses not to play in these things. You don't play through injuries. Like, what are we talking about?
You don't play in a different competition.
He said he's not going to do the dunk contest.
He said he's not because his body's not feeling right.
That's great. Some players would ignore their bodies and be like, "No, I want to be the dunk. I want to be the dunk champion of the NBA."
All right, good. It's smart for him to play. Good, great. Kemba's season was literally ruined by the All-Star game last year, but yeah, go for it.
No, I mean, listen, I agree completely. And so it's like instead he's just going to do a different competition instead of like using that time to just chill.
Which is going to lose that, by the way. That's not going to go well for him.
Yeah, that's not going to be
3-point contest.
Who else is in it with them?
It's Steph, it's Booker,
Lord.
it's Jaylen, it's Jayson, and it's Mitchell and Levine. So it's funny. It's like three of the guys. Mitchell and Levine are dunk champions. And Jaylen's probably more a dunk contest guy than a 3-point guy.
Mitchell's become a lethal shooter. He might have a chance.
That's
sure. Levine's shooting 45% this year.
I won't sniff the dunk contest. I couldn't even tell you who two of those guys were. I had to do a double take at the names for a second.
This whole thing is such a disaster. Like, why? Is the money that much? Maybe it is.
Absolutely.
Explain this to me. Every player thinks it's stupid. And this is dumb, and why are we doing this? But hey, I want to go, even though I'm injured. Like
the unions got some guys doing some math back there, and they're like, "Yeah, we kind of need this."
Yep. That's what it is, man. And that's why I think it's ridiculous if you don't think that there's going to be an outside event. You know, it's going to be a money grab for the city of Atlanta.
You pro all-star guys, I can't wait till other players collude with Tatum and Brown, and then they're gone in 2 years. Okay. It's happening here in Atlanta.
Other way around. I
just think if it was like minus Miami, minus like, I don't know, a Texas city, like Atlanta. Could you think of a better city to host this or that would be willing to host it? I mean, Georgia and their practices throughout this entire
you could do it in Texas. You could do anything in Texas, apparently.
Yeah, see? Like outside of Texas, Florida, boom, Atlanta. That's my pick. Yeah, Georgia's been reckless with this. You know, like Georgia's I don't know. I don't want to get political here, but yeah,
let her rip.
They're one of those states that they're not so concerned about spreading the virus.
So right now, back to the Tatum thing, per 36, and I know assists aren't everything. It's about assist rate and all that stuff, but you can only talk about assist rate within the context of the team. And they don't have many great passers right now, but in the bigger picture of the league, guys who are high volume ball handlers for their teams, Tatum, Brown, and Jeff Teague, they're all down there together per 36 assists with like Eric Bledsoe, Shake Milton, Colin Sexton, these aren't like the elite of the elite ball handlers, assist guys. And I know Boston's offense spread out. There's a lot of, different things here, but even just Tatum's assist to turnover rate, like the passing numbers aren't good for this team. I think Brown deserves more credit, more leeway there because this is his first season of being a big time ball handler and producing in that role. But Tatum, he's just got to be better with that ball handling. That has nothing to do with COVID. That has nothing to do with his shape. Like, he's just streaky and inconsistent when it comes to playmaking. It's the most up and down part of his game. And he's going to score. He's going to be an elite shooter, all that different stuff at the end of the day when they get to the playoffs. But this team's ceiling is going to be determined by his playmaking based on how they're playing right now, unless they decide to shift the point guard position, adjust the roster, or Marcus Smart just comes in as prime Rajon Rondo for the second half.
Well, you got three guys, and what they do best is score, and they score with the ball in their hands. And you want every one of them to be better playmakers, and it isn't necessarily in their DNA to do so. And the people you want distributing aren't really off-the-ball players. And so that's kind of the problem there. You've got basically – but, you look at the Brooklyn situation, you have guys like Harden and Kyrie. They absolutely are distributors when they want to be as well. So it's kind of a different, set of circumstances. Like, none of these guys are really built to be or meant to be facilitators, really.
Think of the difference between Harden and Tatum as facilitators. It's like
it's not close.
Yeah,
it's not close, and that's the thing, is you want it. So the Celtics are trying to will it so because they're the guys with the ball in their hand the most. So therefore, they have to be able to do more with it than just dribble the air out of the ball or take it to the basket or or shoot from 30 feet. So they have to, but they're not great at it, and that's just is what it is right now. Whether they get better, fine. Again, you keep mentioning Smart. This is where Smart matters the most because he's by far the best playmaker and distributor on this team.
Right, and that's why when Smart's in the game, we get so upset when he wants to be shooter Smart and not playmaker Smart.
It's like, we've got these guys. We've got
people
guys.
Think we're hating on. We're not hating on Marcus Smart. We acknowledge what he's very good at, and we just want him to do that. Don't be the scorer because they already have enough of those.
Yeah, right. Don't be the take it on yourself. That's where we always get we kill Mark Little. Is don't be the take it on yourself to score guy. Take your opportunities when you have them, but don't be like, hey, I'm good at this too. You're not very good at it.
Let me play.
You're good at a lot of stuff. You're not very good at that.
That was bubble Marcus. Come on, man.
Just wait. We're missing Smart so much, and the first day he comes back, it's gonna be, did he shoot too much tonight?
Oh man.
Yeah.
You could tell from the first couple of weeks of the season that everyone was just like holding their breath, or he was triple thinking if he should shoot it or not. He was kind of like wide open, like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Everyone's holding their breath. It was just like, it's just awkward. Like, this narrative of Marcus Smart's offensive game has completely overshadowed what he does defensively.
Yeah. So again, part of the Kemba conversations earlier were less about his overall production and value and injury history or what he's going to be, but you're starting to figure, like, you're obviously not moving the Tatum Brown combo because it's two under 24-year-old wings, at the most premium position who are just reaching their prime. So you've got to figure out what they need more than anything else. Every single thing about this team has to be, how do you make these guys better and how do you fit pieces around them? That's what you got to – every single move they make now has to be with that in mind.
Yeah, but that's gone now, though, John, right? I mean, obviously, there's still the trade deadline, but there's
it's gone because it's harder to make moves, yeah.
Right. So
they kind of have this team. They got to make it work, right?
Exactly. But now it's the opposite, John. Those guys have to make the teammates better. I don't think it's that way. I don't think it's a matter of, we have to keep feeding these guys. We already saw the result of that. It's a 500 team. You feed Jalen and Jayson all day. You have a personnel. Team.
I mean, whatever you're looking for moves for personnel moves has to be with that in mind.
I just think it's too late at this point. I think. You get a solid rotation player, before the deadline, maybe a couple at best, but there's no franchise changing player that's going to come in here and whip this thing around. I don't think the Celtics are in position to do that with the assets they have heading into the deadline.
So here's my problem with Thad Young again. If we get back to him as the example, because you guys love him. you dig into, and maybe you don't dig into the TPE that much, but in your example, trading Tristan for him, I know it moves to a different position, but it's still, you're losing a rotation guy and gaining a rotation guy in that sense. And you still needed Tristan for some of the matchups in the East 5. There was a reason he's here, and he's playing well right now.
I was just about to say, Bob, those two do two completely different things. So, I'll let you finish.
we ignore Thompson's strides every single show. Again, 13 and 9 tonight. So if you don't want to get rid of him, you're digging in the TP with a move like that, and you want a guy that you can move toward that next big trade. This ultimately, you guys have a case that you could get a big name player, a rotation, a starter guy in the offseason.
You know who the starter is? It's Rob Williams, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Well, they need another one beyond him. Even if you believe that's him, they need another one on the wing, because I watch and Semi Ojeleye's out there in crunch time. And you can say, oh, we've only had our starters 58 minutes. But you're always going to have injuries come playoff time. So my point here is you need guys at the very least right now who can work toward the trade you're looking for in the offseason. Because if all you go into the offseason is Thad Young or the full TPE, you're probably not getting anything in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean,
great question.
You know, to go back to what John said about, remember what Brad Stevens had to say about the all of a sudden he's bringing up the Rob Williams injury thing, or was it the hip?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you bring up a good point. If they were to trade Tristan Thompson and Rob Williams goes down before the playoffs or during the playoffs, that's a
they'd be in a much worse spot last year.
There is no team out there. There is no team out there that isn't going to get screwed by injuries to top players. You can't build whatever it is you're going to do on the off chance someone gets hurt. If you
I think it's the opposite. You need depth.
Guys, come on.
Let me be
come
clear
on.
here,
The Celtics had wing depth until Gordon got hurt. And then that was the huge problem in the playoffs. Were you going to say that they needed more wings last year? No.
Right.
They could barely share the ball with the guys that they had. You want more bigs than 3 right now? Or if you traded Thaddeus for Thaddeus Young, you'd want more bigs than that as insurance in case someone gets hurt? How many centers are you going to have on the freaking roster? Like, come on.
It depends who it is.
Be worried if someone gets hurt. If someone gets hurt, seasons end up getting derailed a lot of the times. If Tatum gets hurt, that's bad. You know, like, of course it's bad.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'm still co-signing on this deal here. You know, my signature is still on the ink. Thaddeus Young for Thompson. I still do that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But the blinders have been on Thompson's play the last. I got to pull up Thompson's numbers the past 3 weeks or so, because he's been very good and he's working
no.
player that they need.
I don't want him. Don't magnify.
Josue, here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to make you sit through another 20-minute Rob versus Tristan. I'm not going to do it.
We couldn't do that tonight, yeah.
Before Bobby pulls out the per 36 minutes sets, can we not?
Let's just leave it at this. Rob was amazing tonight. He was in a great position to succeed, and they played him in crunch time. That's all you guys want. Maybe it wasn't enough, but he came through.
No,
he was
not all I want.
And they won.
There is a world, I will say this one thing. There is a world in which Rob Williams will eventually play 30 minutes a game for some team. It might be the Celtics. It might be someone else. And whomever that's for, his numbers are going to be outstanding. And we're going to be looking at it saying, if it's the Celtics, you're going to be saying, why didn't they do this sooner? And if it's another team, you're going to say, how in the F did we not realize that's what this guy was?
We did realize it.
He's going to top
that is certainly going to happen. And so these conversations, we're going to look back on them and be like, this was the dumbest conversations we ever had when we were talking
because of you guys thinking it's a conspiracy.
Just the right amount of minutes at 19 a game. There's going to be the dumbest conversations we've ever had on this show.
And Bobby, you know those Tristan Thompson take are not going to age well. So don't even, those Tristan Thompson take are going to die. It's going to be bad.
He's been perfectly fine.
He's going to set the world on fire. I actually think his ceiling is even. I kind of joke about it, and I've been bullish on Rob since last year, saying why isn't he playing more this year? I'm now convinced the Celtics are missing massive opportunities right now of something they're not fully realizing could be a huge weapon and advantage over other teams that they're not fully utilizing. They have a secret weapon and they're just trickling out there a little bit at a time. And it really is mind-boggling. And I do believe potentially by the end of this year, whether it's hip or finally some sort of awakening, everyone will see it. And then again, we'll look back early in the year and be like, can you believe we were arguing against playing this guy more?
Yeah, but this is my point. I'm not saying he's never going to get to that point or that he shouldn't.
He's here now.
I think the process that they're going through is the right one. Like, they got to see what they have with all three of these guys, try to win these games, take advantage of matchups.
See what they have with Daniel Tyson. You don't think they
know
know
exactly what you have.
30+ games, Bob. Come on, man.
And they've been good. Again, you guys are acting like Tice has been a disaster. Tice won on Sunday while Rob was fouling his head off. Thompson's been very good for 3 straight weeks now, and Rob plays.
Special. The other guys do some things well.
Do we know that Rob is special? How would it go right now if he started and played 35 minutes? Do you truly know?
I'd love to see it. Go ahead.
Rob played, I think, 21 minutes tonight. I've said this the whole time. If he's playing low 20s, I'm fine with that. It's when he plays like 14 or less when I don't freaking understand. So if he's playing 20, 25 minutes, I don't need him to play 35 minutes, and I don't expect him to. But he should certainly be 20-plus minutes per game now. In the last few games, he is ticking up to over 20 minutes. So I think for whether Brad finally got the message, or whether in Brad's eyes, Williams is earning that playing time more, whatever it is, he's starting to play more to the point where I'm not really going to necessarily complain about the minutes he's getting, as long as he's still getting above 20 minutes, where I think he should be. And when he's out there, he was out there late in the game, grabbing rebounds, getting those jump balls. I mean, he's doing things that literally nobody else on the team
That's what I keep saying. Every Thompson stat, and again, I keep making the same point. Every Thompson stat, I believe that any replacement level player in his position at that time will come close to his production. Nobody does what Rob can do. Nobody does what he can do. That's not even close. There's actually almost, there might not even be human beings alive who can do what he does. Like, not just on the team. He's literally, he does things, and it's like, what the, how that world did he just do that?
Did you see that close up?
Above the rim, reaching with his hand back in here, and softly putting up layups. Like, these are wasted possessions for other teams, you know? Like, it's like
once in a while,
the vision, the hand-eye coordination, like, he's untapped. I mean, it is incredible. The blend of athleticism and coordination is off the charts with this guy.
That dunk on Zubac, there's a close-up where you could see his hand. He's nearly palming the ball, thinking 11 feet in the air. Like, it's insane. Like, I think it was Westerholm. Shout out to Tom Westerholm. I think he has that on his feed, but that picture just like he's an athletic freak. We don't. Who else is doing that in the NBA? Put it that way. Who else is doing that? Threw down the alley oop from Kemba. I mean, that wasn't just an alley oop. That thing was man, that was a big one. Down the stretch. Yeah, that was a sky high, just thunderous dunk in everybody's face.
His fourth quarter was amazing tonight. Again, let me get ahead of this, because one day he's going to be amazing. You guys are going to be like, time for a Bobby apology cam on Rob.
Yeah,
I see all the same things you guys are doing.
You may spend the rest of the season in an apology cam for Rob.
No, there's no apology cam, because I agree with all the stuff you guys are saying about him. I'm just trying to bring the context here of why he's playing 20 to 25 minutes, because there's other guys and other matchups and other lineups.
He just now is now, Bobby. He just now is now.
I bet if we pull up the last month or so, he's right around 20 minutes. Like, and this is the thing too. We're only about 3 to 5 weeks into him being a great player at this point. He showed flashes in the playoffs, but we saw the downsides. He showed flashes early in the year, but you still saw the downsides. Him throwing the ball away, the pick and pops, all that stuff.
All right, Bobby, ready? 22, 18, 22, 14, 14, 21, 16, 19, 20, 11, 13, 10, 15. Okay?
Yeah, those ones.
19.7.
That's the last.
There you go, 20.
And again, That's the last 15 games he's played about the same as he played in the first 15, about 15 minutes a game. He's had a couple, he's ticked over 20. He's still very low usage.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
I said we weren't going to do it, and we did it.
I think there's a possibility that's the right role for him right now.
We did it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Because that's what Brad says.
No, because he's playing amazing right now. And you guys, the most ridiculous thing you've done is say the hip's an excuse for him to defend his stance. And what evidence do we have?
Why would we wait 32 games or whatever it was to bring that up? Like, are you serious?
Because he was never playing enough before. It was your exact point that there would be no discussion of a minutes limit for a bench guy that's playing 15 minutes because the limit handles itself.
There should be when he's
averaging 15.8 minutes in February. He was averaging about 14.8 minutes in January. He's playing a minute more in February.
That would make a lot more sense for someone like Taco. Like, yeah, you don't need the the extent of Taco soreness.
He was the third big man on the bench coming in
this
the
is
year.
Different. Rob
Whatever.
Right, but he was projected to be in the rotation, or at least a consistent chunk of the rotation.
Yeah, I just think when it comes to the hip thing in particular, we might be seeing a situation where he's being managed the perfect way to get this level of production out of him, which is outstanding right now. Like, this has been a massive bonus to the team, and I think the plan or whatever it is that they've been doing with him is paid off in a way that he's been able to sustain and play every night. And again, he missed 2 games with this. This didn't come out of thin air. He missed 34 games with it last year. And the reason they got him 27th in the draft was because of his lower body blood flow condition, whatever it is that knocked out a lot of his rookie year. So, there's a reason that he's here that they have to deal with.
Is there a mute button?
Oh, man. Damn.
All right, Coach Jimmy would be running him 40 minutes, and then in a week we'd hear Rob's hip really hurting. He may not be able to play for 5 games.
So wait,
Rob's hips is shot.
Brown can play 35 and go to the All-Star game in the 3-point contest.
He's a
Rob
starter.
Play 12 minutes.
He's a starter, and he needs to.
Yeah, we keep saying Rob should be a starter, but that's all right. We said we weren't going to do it.
With
here
that.
We go again.
Do you three all agree he should be a starter?
Yeah, I think he should be playing the most minutes of the bigs.
I mean, I don't get concerned about who's starting and who's not.
I don't mind if
he not start. Yeah, I think he should be playing the most minutes because he's the most impactful, and you need impactful players here. He helps really unlock the offense. I like Tice in a lot of circumstances too, and there's certain times where it feels like Tice would settle things. Rob's a little all over the place right now. Sunday didn't have a great game, but again, it seems like there's no margin for error when Rob doesn't have a great game. Jayson Tatum goes out and plays
he plays every game and he plays the same amount. Again, you guys are still living in this world where he doesn't play certain games. He's benched for certain things and other times. He makes mistakes and still gets to keep rolling. He gets
everyone makes
minutes where he deserves it.
Jayson Tatum turned the ball over twice in crunch time after having a miserable shooting game. If it was Rob, you would have shot him into the sun.
There's a process here. I think there's a process here, and I'm trusting in. By the end of the year, he's going to be playing 30 minutes, and we're all going to be happy.
We trust. Yeah, maybe. The fans here wanted to talk about Pritchard. It was damn good. It was damn good to see Pritchard knock down the threes, huh? Because he went cold. That was, I wasn't going to say worried, but,
nice little floater, too.
Yeah. The floater, everyone was freaking out about the floater because he didn't kick it to Tatum. Because Tatum was open in the corner. And
he probably looked at Tatum and was like, nah, you suck.
You suck tonight.
My team now, bro.
He's like, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it, kid.
This is a similar thing with Rob. Pritchard was playing so well early this season that everyone was saying, start him, ramp up the minutes. He's the best point guard here. The role he's in and has been in for much of the season has been great. And there's ups and downs to a rookie. And you're going to have performances like this, and you're going to have the couple of weeks, the rookie wall, as they call it, where, it's not as great from him. So it's nice to see him get back to hitting the threes off the ball. I thought LA left him and others open off of Tatum in very strange situations. It happened to Kemba a couple of times. It happened to Pritchard once, and they were able to get wide open threes off of those, which I get because of the pressure you're going to put on Tatum. But that seemed to get Pritchard going in this one. And I still love these bench rotations that they have. You look at Teague, Rob, Semi, and Pritchard, all of them were plus and plus by a couple of possessions in this game. So they're able to kill opposing benches in a way between Rob, Pritchard, and even Teague at this point. I'm going to give Teague some credit for his last week or so. They have been able to craft nice ball movement, multiple production bench units that for some reason other teams that have great bench players like LA, they have Lou Williams and these guys. Reggie Jackson was awesome in this one. They've been able to kill some of those.
We're listening.
I had to plug in, but now I'm listening, Bobby. Sorry.
No, that's all I had. It's great. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the Teague part, when you balance it with not seeing Aaron Nesmith, I don't know how I feel about it.
Wait.
What?
Okay, John, what's going on in the comments right now? Why are we getting called out for Pritchard?
Because you and I were very pro Team Pritchard, even talking about starting him. But
I was never
like 5 games
I only said start him when Kemba was on the sidelines, like when he's on his day out. I said start Pritchard over Teague or over Javonte Green. I still stand by that, by the way.
What about Semi Ojeleye?
Tyrone Biggums.
Yeah, and
I love it.
Joe Rogan.
Yo, that's your next Halloween costume, bro. Yo, in college, someone did it, and he put he had the powdered donuts on his mouth. So I
love that.
Oh. See, like if that picture surfaces, he's canceled. So you got to be careful now, right? Like
I know, right?
Tyrone Biggins, I won't be on this show anymore, so I got to be careful.
You rewatch any episode, you're like, man, if you say any of this stuff now on TV,
oh my god,
it's insane.
They still play him on Comedy Central. So good.
It is interesting. We're talking about Teague. Like Teague, like Nesmith died so Teague could live. Like I honestly think that's where his minutes went.
Oh, for real, and I don't know how I feel about it. Damn,
he's gone.
Wait, what'd you say?
I don't get it.
He's
Nesmith
a point guard, though.
I know, but I'm saying like those bench minutes and the score. He's gone. He lost them. Like Teague was in exile and he's come back. And Nesmith is gone. And I know he's more of a point, but again, I think that's all of a sudden there's a little bit more trust in Teague. And it's like, I'll get my offense out of this. The kid's not cutting it. And we talked about Teague last show, but man, it's depressing that he went from 25 minutes a night and the first guy off the bench to 7-0-0. I mean, at this point, you have to think
he got his chance, John, and you were freaking out for weeks because he wasn't playing at all. They gave him 3 weeks, and the ball was getting stuck. It was just another guy who was running in the corner.
He sucked. He did not make the most of his minutes. He hustled. He hit the floor. He played some defense. He just stood in the corner. He didn't do anything on offense. He looked scared. He looked tentative. It's a bummer. I'm more depressed that they're not trying to get more out of it, or that Brad came to the realization that I don't know that this kid's going to give us anything, which is a bummer. And with and again, I know I'm more bullish than most, but with Romeo coming back theoretically after the All-Star break, I really do think Romeo's going to give you something here. I don't think it's going to be Gordon Hayward replacement, but I think he's going to play. I think he's going to be in the rotation.
They need defense, yeah.
And he plays defense. And I think, again, this is again why I love guys like this. I know he looked lost last year. He didn't look good last year at all, but this is a guy who was a top 3, top 4 high school recruit 2 years ago. One of the most highly regarded players heading into college in the nation. Like, he has a pedigree. There's something in there that he has. He's a scorer. He's a basketball player. I'm dying to see it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in the same camp of that. You play Nesmith and just see what happens. But I don't think you go into a game against the Clippers where like you have to get Nesmith on the floor, right? I'm very selective in that way. I don't think you put him in situations where you're facing top tier offenses or top notch juggernauts against the Lakers or those kind of matchups. But everyday games, why not? I still think he should get his reps in and get more comfortable out there.
Yeah, and that's what we were
Sunday was
asking for,
shocking.
Bobby.
Yeah, because Brown was out.
In the beginning, Bobby, what we were asking for was consistently. He shouldn't go. Again, he went that stretch where we had the graphic on the screen. He went 7 games playing 2 minutes total. Then was the first guy off the bench for 5 or 6 games, and now he's in no man's land again. Just get the kid in 8, 10, 12 minutes a game and work through it a little bit. Put him in spots, run some sets, get him confident, get him playing a little bit. This hot and cold thing is really weird.
I think it is weird. Weird's a good way to put it. I guess
weird.
I don't keep a good eye on like every other team's rotations and whatnot, but I do feel like it's strange to go from like a basically DMP to, like you said, like first guy off the bench, getting 25 minutes, playing crunch time, getting, lost on Luka Doncic's game-winning shot, and then relegated to, the tackle fall treatment again, where, he doesn't play.
Yeah.
So it is weird, those like massive swings. And I don't know if that's just Brad Stevens, just trying to see what works and just going with the guy and sticking with him for that game. Maybe playing a guy like Nesmith 6 or 7 minutes doesn't do anything to help Nesmith or the Celtics. I mean, I thought playing him a little bit, getting his feet wet and getting comfortable would be better than. I honestly think I would rather see him get 8 to 10 minutes than see him get 25 minutes.
But it's bonkers. The last few games was 0-0. Before that, 7-14. Then before that, 22, 27, 20, 21, 24, 29. The game before that was.
Do anything.
I'm not saying he did. It's just strange, the usage.
But it's like.
I know he didn't do anything. Yeah.
But it's like maybe Brad Stevens
It's
is
a
like,
strange team.
Shit, why am I going to play you 25 minutes a game if you're going to stand there and not do anything and make Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown do even more than they already have to do?
He was terrible.
That's one of the guys I think Brad Stevens was like basically saying, like, do something. Or if you're not going to do something, then you're not going to play. So
I don't think a rotation like that lends itself to being a consistent team, but it's what they have. And this is why I'm screaming and yelling every show for a move. Reliability, consistency, guys that you can play game in and game out. If they had a reliable third wing, Nesmith would never play ever, and we'd understand it. We'd be like, all right, there's just better guys in front of them. But right now, they have to try everything every single game. And I know people freak out about Semi Ojeleye and Javonte Green and some of these other guys, but they have an ounce of reliability. Like, even if it's just an ounce, like, they know they can at least be in the right spots on defense, and they can make cuts and hit some of the threes. Yeah, they did what they needed to with Nesmith for right now. And again, like, you don't have to call him a bust after year one. Like, it is what it is.
I'm not calling him a bust. I'm not calling him a bust.
I'm saying just for anybody who's kind of feeling that way because he's not in the rotation right now. It's a weird year. It's a weird team. And they have to be all over the place a little bit. And that's why I push back so hard against the fire Stevens and heat on Stevens stuff. This is just the situation he has, and they're making pretty good use of it.
Like I said, from the get-go, of course, Semi is solid in the same way, and again, Semi is safe the same way Tristan is safe, the same way. Right. But you're looking at ceiling, it's going to come from within. You either unlock something you have in some other players, or you play the Jags and you are who you are.
You might lose a lot more games doing that, though.
It doesn't matter. You go to the playoffs relying on Semi Ojeleye and Tristan Thompson to be playing 25, 30 minutes because you trust them more than you trust other people. You're a first-round exit. Guarantee. Okay?
I think you would be either way.
But that's the thing is you're looking to actualize your ceiling or your potential. And that was the goal behind playing Nesmith, which is he's a guy you drafted with the 14th pick in the first round. Theoretically, he should be able to come in and help you.
I gave you guys this out.
It's obvious.
Choose one direction or the other to me. You're sitting in the middle. Either add and pad and bury those young guys, or go the other direction, ramp them up and trade some of these veterans. Like, you got to do one or the other. Because right now, is Brad wrong for this? Like, playing it safe, going with reliability, winning these games?
I don't know. I'm not going to say
it's the coach's job to win the games.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not super anti what's going on right now, because this is a tough year for rookies. A very, very tough year for rookies. They had no off season, they had no camp, they've had no preseason essentially. They're just thrown into the fire here and expected to contribute or perform well on a good team is not easy. So honestly, I feel like this is almost like a lost year for a guy like Nesmith. We're lucky that Pritchard looks like he is, for whatever reason, a lot more prepared for the NBA game than Nesmith was. So everyone, I guess, is just, prepared differently. Let me just finish that. I don't think that means that Nesmith is a lost cause or a bust. I just think that he might not be that useful to the team this year. If you're a team that's trying to win this year, which the Celtics are, then Semi Ojeleye, we know who Semi Ojeleye is, but he probably can help you win more than Nesmith can. And honestly, he's probably playing more minutes than he should, but when Marcus Smart comes back, and if you get one more guy at the deadline, Semi probably fits very nicely into the role that will be carved out for him, and he's going to deserve those minutes over Nesmith. Now, if Romeo ever comes back, this is like the thumb or the wrist that, never heals. I don't know if he's going to come back with a robotic one, but if he does, then maybe that's the guy who slides into that role. So I don't know how much more Nesmith you're going to see this year, but I think, if he gets a full offseason, in the training facility, working with whoever, then, maybe he comes back a more polished off type player and ready to contribute.
Well, so my question to you guys, though, is it a Nesmith issue? Is it a Brad issue? Is it a rookies in the NBA this year issue? Would Brad be playing Sadiq Bey right now?
I think it's the latter.
Probably, but
I think it's the third. I mean, I think obviously every single rookie is unique in that way, right? Depending on what team they're going to fulfill a void. But in this aspect, I just feel like, okay, what makes it most frustrating, this whole Nesmith thing, is it's not one of those situations where you see a talented young shooter who is going to need to be gradually, put into the rotation and all that. I mean, yeah, little by little, it's going to take some time. But does anyone not see him seeing it all click in a month or so?
No, it's not going to in a month.
No,
listen,
I don't mean a month from today, Jimmy. I mean like a solid month of really playing him, and then come postseason, he just becomes maybe not a 20-minute guy, but someone you can rely on just to lock down the perimeter when you need it. Because the Celtics are still giving up way too many 3-pointers, and you need someone out there. Everyone is looking at Nesmith as strictly a shooter, which is, of course, you need some of that as well. But the defense goes a long way as well.
He's not there defensively, and this isn't a team that can afford to just play 5-on-4 for
Remember the Mavericks game?
30 minutes a game just because you want this guy to take the training wheels off. Like, Sadiq Bey is on the Detroit freaking Pistons. You play that guy 35 minutes a game. Nobody gives a shit if you win or lose.
I get that, Jimmy, but it's not like the bench is stacked, man. Like the second unit,
I agree.
So why not plug him into a void that you need?
They tried.
I think I know, and that's we're killing them for something that they did. And they gave
long enough.
And
we're not killing him.
Again, I don't want to see him tonight. I didn't want to see Nesmith tonight.
We're not killing him, Bobby. I'm lamenting it. It's a bummer that it happened. Yeah. He got all of these minutes and didn't make the most of them, and now he's gone again. It's almost like I feel like he's done for the year at this point. Like I may be, but when you get Smart back and when you get Romeo back, I have no idea if Nesmith sees the court ever again. Like
this goes back to my thing,
right?
Too.
You might not.
That's how I feel.
So that's why I'm bummed. I'm bummed it failed.
That's how I feel about Teague. Like if Smart comes back. And if Romeo gives you something, we're not going to see.
He's gone. Yeah, he's gone. And we'll all be in a happier spot if they add a reliable veteran, the team's healthy, and the rotations speak for themselves. Because honestly, at this point, why are we even talking about developing a rookie with this team? The star power that they have, the stage.
Yo, John, you want to develop Romeo. He's a rookie, man. Like, you really think last year means anything? Like, that guy's a rookie.
Develop. It's like I said, again, to use
the main red clause should be up and active.
To use other sports analogies, if I've got a guy in the pen, if I got a guy in the pen who throws 97 and he's a little bit wild, I want to see if he can come in and get some guys out, because at least he throws 97 miles an hour. I don't want the guy coming out there painting corners, hoping he's friggin' got his stuff that day. Like, I feel like all of these guys are just fine enough to survive with. But again, you want something more. You want to reach a higher threshold. So you want guys with star pedigrees to eventually be able to actualize their potential to get you there. So I'm not saying force the issue if they suck and you're losing games left and right. I'm saying if they're going to get beyond where they're headed right now, it's coming from within, and it's not coming with more Semi Ojeleye and Grant Williams minutes. It's not happening.
We're on the same page there, John. We're on the same page there. Like I get, like I just don't. I'm not done to give up on the Nesmith experiment. This season at least, right?
You gotta look at these situations, and Josue did. He said today's not the place or time. Ojeleye played well here. He played well in the 2 games before this. There's no knock on that. Like this is so inconsequential. I think your Rob points are good because he's actually shifting the needle a lot within these games and his minutes. But like Semi's just, if he can just be like somewhere between a 0 and a 3, and tonight he was a +11. That's all they need out of that position. And like, I gotta come up with like an analogy here of an unnecessary risk just for what development that probably isn't even gonna go that far for the limited minutes he's playing.
Well, the thing is, John's your baseball example of like the guy throwing 99. That's good for Robert Williams. That's not good for Nesmith. Nesmith's
it's not
guy
right now. It's not.
Nesmith's a guy who belongs in AAA, if we're being honest. So like that guy you don't want coming into the game right now if you're a baseball team.
You
the
don't.
Red Sox.
He's not playing the way he needs to either. He's playing a different style so he can fit in those limited minutes.
He's not, but he's a guy again who you drafted to be a scorer and who look again. What was the draft night? The draft night reaction was what with Nesmith?
It's just that you threw me off with the Romeo thing because you sound like a prediction. Like this guy's gonna give you something. So
no, I'm saying. Anyway,
draft night, we were all pumped. We were like, they got the best shooter in the draft, blah, blah, blah.
Ready to play now, best shooter in the draft, okay? Neither of those things are true right now, and it's disappointing. I'm not saying anything can change it, but the idea was he's played college for 2 years. He's more mature. He can come in, and he shoots all day, meaning you give him an ounce of daylight, and he shoots. He's the best pure shooter in the draft. And he can't even get a shot off. Playing 24 minutes in a night and getting 0 field goals. Like, what is going on there? It's unbelievable. So anyway,
that's a mentality thing.
But that's it. The idea was he was supposed to be able to come in and help because he had one skill, and that skill was extremely valuable to this team, a necessity. So in a team that needs spacing and shooting, to not be able to find some value in this guy is maddening. That's all. And again,
that's a fair point. Yeah, especially on
that's
Brad.
Fair, but to me that doesn't mean just play him until it works.
Well, Brad tried. It's a bummer. Right. Like I said, at this point, I don't know what I would do if I'm Brad. Do you put him out there another 24 minutes and have him do nothing? I mean,
because then we all come on this show and say, why is Brad playing this guy? Is Brad you don't have to defend Brad, blah blah blah, all this stuff.
And then we can say like, oh, why aren't they running plays for him? And it's like you're gonna run 6 plays a game for the 10th guy on the roster. Who does that?
I don't know. You run plays for Corvers and for your Duncan Robinsons and things like that. And I'm not saying he's there. Of course he's not. But that's what you want. That's what you want. You want the guy who can only deliver one thing for you. But when you bring him in, you have him do that thing. They bring him in and he does everything but that.
Well, they weren't passing it to him either.
Maniac falling on the floor.
I was just gonna say, like Jimmy's point there. The issues at the top of the roster that we talked about at the beginning of the show are exacerbating that. Like the ball movement and facilitators and all that stuff isn't there. So they might not even be able to set up that kind of stuff or have like the, level of offensive cohesion to get more guys involved. This team, I know they've picked it up the last 3 games, but I don't feel much better about them. Like I think they hit a good stretch here at home. I think they have a little more health and they're hitting some shots and playing a little better defense, but I looked out there crunch time and saw Semi, and bless him, I love him. I defend him as hard as anyone. But to see him being the 5th guy is the stuff I've been screaming about all year. Why isn't there a 5th starter on this roster? Makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, he's injured.
I don't even know if there's 4 starters on this roster.
Yeah.
Because you're starting Tristan every night.
I think you got to be encouraged by Kemba.
Tristan. Can you read the Tristan line from the night, John, please, just for everybody?
It was fine. He was good. 6 of 10, 13 points, 9 rebounds. I even made a graphic in case you wanted to take a victory lap.
You actually made a graphic?
Of course I did.
Well, Bobby's taken 12 victory laps already about him. So
great. Tonight, his weird lefty putbacks went in. Terrific. Okay,
For a
Why is he
couple
so
weeks now.
he did
He's
it.
what we expected. We're getting
did
what we
it.
expected, and now everyone wants to trade him just because the first few weeks are stuck in their mind.
No, I want to trade him because the second you can fool somebody into thinking he has any value, get him the hell out of town. So again,
I'm in
there's
favor of
there's-
trading him if you can upgrade him. Yeah.
graphic. He was
There you
awesome.
go, Bob. 5 offensive. He even gave you a little bonus right
He
Look
there.
didn't
at
even
that.
put the turnover in there.
All
That's
positive
stunning.
stats.
Yeah.
I was going to put missed 2 bunnies in there, but I didn't have room.
21
Why does he have
minutes.
to be perfect? Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, I know.
So he had 21 minutes. Rob had 21 minutes. So it's slowly starting.
There you go.
Here we go.
Be happy. They
Here
get
we go.
what you guys want is coming. I can guarantee you that. By the end of the year, mark my words, Rob will be playing 30, 25, 30. It's going to happen. It's just not happening today.
25, 30? I don't know. It's a lot.
25 makes sense to me.
Whoever's your buddy in Sacramento, Bobby, call him up and see if he's still willing to do that Nesmith for Barnes thing, because we can talk deal tonight.
Yeah, I've changed my mind. I'm ready to make the deal.
We'll do that right
Oh,
now.
man. I hope he's still there. I hope he hasn't been watching the last few.
Right. Delete the tape from the last couple of games, and then
Oh, man. One more game, guys. We're almost
one more
there.
game. All-Star break, guys. Closing thoughts here.
Get that win. Guarantee a win here at TD Garden, and I think they have a good chance to get another one. I think Tatum has to finish strong here. I think it's not just about a mental thing just for him, but I think from a team standpoint, you want to see your all-star leader, finish things off on the right foot. Maybe we get a solid double-double, 22 points, 12 assists, something like that. Maybe he gets to the free throw line about 8, 9 times. A solid show out alongside Kemba and what he's been doing right now. I think will go a really long way for this team. Something to look forward to after the break. Because there's a big game after the break. Brooklyn Nets, So that matters. That matters. You want them to hold on to that hangover, and hopefully Jayson Tatum won't have one, Jaylen Brown won't have one.
Durant's going to be rested, though.
When they get back, Durant's going to be ready. This Nets team, they're going to want to blow you out. Like, it's going to be – they want to send a message. This is what they're doing right now, and the Celtics are next on the list.
Yeah, they'll destroy the Celtics the way it looks right now. I just to build off what I just said there, I want to see something happen over the All-Star break if it can. I know it's a long way before the deadline. The market hasn't opened up and all that stuff, but it's my point on what we've heard from Ainge and what we've heard from Wick. The prices are high, and if they want to do something, it's going to take some aggression here. So aggression could even be getting in a little bit early and patching some of these holes before the break. Now, I get why they won't do it because they want to see Romeo, right, John? They want to see Smart. This team could end up looking pretty good when they're fully healthy. But, health's always fickle. There's always an injury right around the corner. They're even dealing with some injuries now, evidently, that they're just powering through, whether it be Brown or who knows what's going on with Tatum. There could be something we don't even know about there. So I'd just like to see some sort of addition at some point here in the next month or so. They're going to destroy the Raptors on Thursday. For some reason, they've had their number this year, and the Raptors have played great, and they still got destroyed in that in the last game that we saw between these two teams. But Joe Sway's right. Schedule just gets growing again right after the break, and the Celtics kind of are what they are. Spot-up shooting, hopefully some depth contributions on any given night, and put the weight of the world on Tatum, Brown, and Kemba. And I just don't – that's not going to be satisfying to me at the end of this year if that's what they're bringing in the playoffs, if that's the game plan they're running into at the end of this thing.
Right.
I'm going to keep my final thoughts more just about what's going on now. I thought, we talked, I think maybe a week ago, about winning ugly games or winning games that you should win and not losing them. This would have been a bad loss for them with Kawhi Leonard out. So, you didn't get a great performance from Tatum again, but I thought this was a good team win, right? Because, you don't want to rely too heavily on those two guys all the time anyway. So the fact that they were able to win almost despite Tatum tonight was a good sign. Tells me that, there are other guys starting to pick up the slack, which is exactly what it seems like Tatum and Brown have been asking for. So if that means Kemba Walker taking the reins here in the second half, he's going to get a nice week off coming up. And I'm interested to see if he can continue his sort of, going upwards here, or whichever way we're going.
Yeah.
And I think he's the difference maker in the second half of the season. If he can play to the level that he's playing at, and maybe start playing some more games, then Celtics might be in business. I don't know. I'm not gonna get too hopeful.
No, that's a good point. If this is Kemba for the foreseeable future, the ceiling of the team does raise a little bit.
Yeah. So my thought is this, and again, this is more kind of a heading into the All-Star break sort of thought, because I do think they're going to catch a break here with a really depleted Raptors team. So, they should hopefully wrap it up with a win, 4-game win streak heading into the break. Great. But to me, it's, beginning of the year, we talked about Tatum and Brown have to elevate their levels. I think right now it's all on Tatum. You got to see who he is right now. Is he the alpha dog? Is he the guy? Is he the number one guy on a championship caliber team? And can he be that guy? Or is he this guy who's a little bit off, a little inconsistent? Again, we'll give him that break here. We don't know post-COVID how serious that's been there. And so he's mentioned there's been fatigue there. But again, I'm going back to, even before this, there's just a stretch of time where he doesn't look like that guy who took that next leap to the next level. We're going to keep saying he's 22, and that's fine.
That's true.
He may get there at 24. This isn't a knock on Tatum, but again, we've placed this burden of responsibility on his shoulders, regardless of his age already, that he's a top 10 caliber player and an absolute alpha dog and the leader of this team, no question about it. And he's got to elevate his game all the way around if this team's going anywhere. And if he doesn't, and he's kind of stuck here, they're not going anywhere.
You better hope that's not the case, because you keep saying you got to build the team around these two guys. You got to build the team around these two guys.
Yeah, because
so they better be
man.
good enough to build around.
They better be, because that's what they've got.
That's it.
Are in here.
It's a fair point. Yeah.
If they aren't, then
they need help though.
screwed.
They do need help.
They
They need
aren't,
a lot of help.
There's a lot of teams that max out 2 guys and they're like, shit, it's the wrong 2 guys, or some teams do it with 3.
Now that's not what it is.
That's not what this is. You're very happy to have these guys, particularly Brown on his contract. But again, they can only, if they ascend to
find out.
upper level, you're great. And if they don't, you're kind of stuck in neutral a little bit. So
this is kind of becoming a trend with the show. No credit ever given to Brown. He went 8 of 14 with 18 tonight quietly.
I know. I was thinking that earlier.
And we just blow over it every night.
Well, because it's boring.
We talk about how he went perfect in the first half, and John goes, yeah. But then, second half Kemba, and then we stopped talking about him.
Okay,
great. He kind of disappeared a little bit.
An hour.
He did. He said he disappeared.
We got to at least mention it.
And then
Good
he disappeared
game.
from the conversation completely.
Okay, hot topic. Jaylen was pretty good. Discuss.
Oh, you can't set it up like that, man.
Well, here's the thing: if Jaylen Brown's ever, if he has the best night of the team, it's usually how we start off the game. So maybe that's on him. Put yourself in the position to be talked about, and you will be talked about.
I want to see a monster game from him soon, because it does feel like he's due. He's been steady game in and game out, but either the shots aren't there. Maybe you're right, Jimmy. He's not assertive enough, or other guys just have ball time on top of him. That maybe it's so tough for me to say right now. We've had this conversation, Jimmy. Like Kemba or Brown, they both have great attributes. They both bring a lot to the table, but there's only one ball.
There is only one ball. That is true.
Oh, Brad. I'm glad I didn't look at the comments tonight. It looked like it was fire Brad because Nesmith's not playing a lot. Rob should be starting, and this isn't good enough.
Brad, during wins, Brad only gets a little bit of
Brad this year is Hayward last year. This is what Hayward got last year. You'd have a good game and people would be like, trade him!
Look, we didn't talk about it, and we don't have time to start a full conversation, but we talked about that Simmons pod with Jackie Mack. When you've got Jackie Mack and Bill Simmons both kind of saying like, yeah, Brad's kind of sort of,
on that tonight.
On the hot seat, ish, and we get it, and so's Danny for that matter. Like you see chinks in the armor here, like there's the people high up who are plugged in or defend this team to the hilt are kind of like, there's issues here in terms of whether it's tune outs of the coach or players not responding. And again, every win everyone's going to take to Twitter and be like, "Oh, looks like they tuned out Brad again." You know, like,
they hate each other, huh?
Because they
Look how much
execute.
they hate each other.
That was ridiculous. Go ahead, Josiah.
No, I just want to get this in real quick. Simmons hates this team, so it doesn't hold a whole lot away from me. But I'm with you because a few years ago Simmons is not that guy, but now he's questioning everything. Like he wanted something to trade for this.
Yeah, he's a grumpy old man. I know.
Yeah, he's turned into exactly. Yeah, he's turned into.
But he's still a homer.
Yeah, that's true. Jackie Mack, I'm with you though. Jackie, it's rare when Jackie's talking about firing.
But Jackie to say like I was after that Atlanta game, Jackie Mack said after that Atlanta game, I was worried about Brad. That's like. I've concern for my son, Brad Stevens, who's and the players aren't listening to him, and I was very worried that he's lost his team.
Yeah, because under that you're thinking, wait, this is Jackie Mack. Jackie's hearing something. Like this isn't Jackie. This isn't a raw thought, not to put it that way, but she's hearing something. There's something out there.
Yeah, I think all you had to do was watch that and the whole Washburn thing. We got into that a while ago to see what was going on there. But you can lose a room and get it back a little bit. I do think you're right, though, Jimmy. That clip of them breaking down the screen action at the Wizards game and the fact that I don't know what would have been the example there if they haven't tuned out the coach, that they would have just let Beal go to the corner and shoot and not like attack the screen action the way you should as basketball players. Like I think we overdo that a little. Yeah. Like if you execute the game plan to a T. Yeah, like
before the game, right? When Brad Stevens was talking,
he smiled for a second. He looks so unhappy,
Right. They don't communicate, really?
Yeah.
When Brad did his pregame, right? Gary Washburn comes in. He goes, "Listen, Brad, I hate to keep having to ask you about this. I was 1,000% sure he was going to talk about Rob Williams' minutes, but he brought up the firing of Lloyd Pierce. I'm like, oh, all right. I was like, come on, Gary, come with it, Gary.
Do you think they're next?
Yeah. Yikes.
I still think he's gonna keep firing those tough questions to Brad and keep it coming. Like that's like
Washburn has had a great year, even back to the bubble.
Oh yeah, ever since he saw a shirtless Marcus Smart, man, he's been all over it.
You need that. Yeah. You need someone kind of holding it to account and asking questions that are uncomfortable. And he asks those questions, and it's fair. You got a team that has high expectations, that's playing well below them, and you want to talk about, okay, you want to hold people accountable for it.
And Brad can take it. Brad takes it.
That's what we were saying is it's amazing how reluctant some people are to ask, where Brad is extremely good. And we've talked about these radio interviews he's been on where they flat out ask him, did you lose the room? And he's like, I understand why you would ask that. He takes a lot on himself.
He said this to Grandy about a week or two ago. They were talking about his job, and he was like, I hope I never reach the point where I'm not the hardest one on myself. And that's why I trust him on a lot of stuff, because I know he's second-guessing himself. He's trying different things, and he's staying up late at night trying to solve these issues. I have a lot of faith in him as a person, as a coach.
Yeah, we know.
And I think it's been earned. I really do.
The anecdote that Jackie gave was an interesting one, though, because one of the things she talked about was when Brad was young and he was at a Pacers game and he watched like a famous, game where Reggie Miller, when Larry Bird was a coach, hits a big shot and Bird just sits there like this and he doesn't move, and it's a big game and a playoff game and Bird sat there stoically as if nothing had happened. And he was like, that's what I want to be. I don't want to raise it too high when they go. And remember in the early games when the Celtics were hitting these crazy shots, Isaiah's going bananas, and you had these gifs, of Brad on the sideline and the whole place.
Yeah.
And like, okay, timeout, come over here and talk. And everyone loved it then. They don't love it now when things are – so you love that he could maintain that level of calm and composure at those times and not act like a freak. And now people are mad because he's not throwing chairs or being demonstrative, because it's almost like it's less that approach is what people think the team needs. It's that we're angry. We want you to be angry too.
Right.
And that's what I think the biggest issue with fans is like, how aren't you as mad as I am right now? And they see him calm, and they're like, do you care? I think Tatum suffers from that too, because
that's the problem.
Right. And you want people to feel the way you feel sometimes, and I think that's why those guys get killed a little bit.
You need a little bit of everything. Smart brings the fire on this team, and I think that's enough. Maybe they need one
It's
more.
not enough. It's not.
Maybe they need one more guy like that. Yeah, you're right, Jimmy. They probably need one more guy like that. But
Like
you
a
also
Thaddeus
need.
Young, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
who
the
he
guy
is? I don't know.
coming from-
So
But then everyone says they're soft or they don't care, and I don't know that that's the case. It's just like I said, is everyone wears it a little different,
this is my thing. There's evident proof that Brad does it a different way. Whether it's calling these guys out in pressers, speaking directly to them, being assertive with it. The question is, does that get through? And I don't think we know that. I don't think we have an answer for that with this team in particular, because that has worked with past teams. I think he's called them out in ways they've gotten answers. Used to remember they'd have those awful losses and then they just bounce back, guns blazing the next night.
Yeah.
You don't see that as much anymore. They go on a little longer tears. They go up, they go down.
Yeah.
The energy level is pretty consistent. So, listen, I've said all year there should be heat on Brad. Firing is not even a question given his track record,
Because
but he's
nothing
worthy of
happened this
criticism.
season. But everything's on the table at the end of the year. If this season goes kerplunk, if they, God forbid, miss the playoffs, or an embarrassing one and done, everyone's going to be looked at. There's no question about that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're no different than any other team,
No
really.
different.
I mean, so
Right.
that's how it's going to be.
You don't go from conference finals to out of the playoffs like that without people being held accountable.
Self-assessment.
Yeah. Right.
Well, we won't jump to that just yet. We'll
not
let's
there
get through
yet.
the All-Star break.
We're not in Kemba year 4, and we're not
Right.
not at the end of this year where they've already been eliminated. There's
Right.
hope.
Hold your horses, John. We'll get there.
Year 4. Oh boy.
Want to give
Oh
you
my
something
God.
to look forward to.
You'll all be boomers by the time we get there.
Yeah.
All
All right.
Oh man.
We've lingered long enough. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Again, subscribe. The room was packed tonight, and we've had numbers all night. So thank you for hanging with us on a school night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was
Absolutely.
fun. Keep bringing it. We
We
have
got
the
one more.
coming up, but we'll do this one more game, and then we'll pop up again. When do they return? When do they play again?
The following Thursday, I believe.
March
Okay, so-
16th.
We'll do something between games for sure. But in the meantime, like I said, subscribe to our channels and all our great podcasts. And we will be back on Thursday. Jimmy Toscano, Bobby Manning. And again, Jimmy mentioned it, but you should go read it, both on CLNS Media and Boston Sports Journal. Great article from Bobby about
Definitely.
Do you believe me yet? They're best friends. Beal's coming.
best buddies.
Oh
best
shoot.
Jayson Tatum and Bradley Beal talking to their trainer.
Hey,
Go
hey,
read it.
guys.
It was good.
Hey guys, guess what?
Yeah.
What?
In 3 minutes, it's Jayson Tatum's birthday. So how about
I
that?
know.
Oh, wow. How old?
3
19?
minutes. Guys.
19 tomorrow.
21.
Wow, happy
21.
birthday.
He's gonna get his first beer tonight.
23, right?
23. Yeah.
The great thing, I throw this around a
Great
lot,
number.
but
Good number.
Tatum and I were born in the same month. So this whole 19 thing, like
Oh
I'm
my
going to be able
God.
to hang on to that for the rest of my life.
What are
I'm
the
going to be able,
chances? 12?
like same month, same year.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm going to be able to hang on to
Did you
that for
play
the
with
rest of
him
my
in
life.
AAU? Did you play against him or with him at AAU?
I didn't.
Crappy short guy?
Yeah. Was he shorter than you? Is that what happened?
Oh, man.
Happy birthday to. Is that Bobby's way of letting us know that his birthday's coming up?
It's a hint.
It's actually not. March is a haul. Mine's at the end. So we got like 4
okay.
weeks.
Yeah, March sucks. I'll be 10 years older by the end of March. Every year this month kills me.
Although there's different people. Some people start their birthday countdown like 6 weeks early. I'm probably more like 5 days. I'll give you a little shout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, we want to make sure we do Bobby Manning birthday week on the show.
Full
Yeah,
ramp.
for real. Birthday segment.
Please don't forget about the reminder.
Full
We
ramp.
Happy
need that,
birthday,
we need that heads
Jason.
up. We need
We're
that
going to have
heads
a
up.
series of celebrations that week. We're going to have special segments, okay? Special,
Yeah.
special guests. It was like
Check.
got people who knew.
Tristan Thompson's gonna check in. It's gonna be great.
Tristan,
Yeah.
oh, that would be so great. Imagine me and Tristan for a segment. We would just hit it right off.
I might
Oh, I'm sure.
have to sit that one out. I'm too much of a coward.
Yo. Oh no, I think it's the other way around. I thought you would call him out.
John and Tristan, that might go a different kind of way. There'd be too many tough questions.
Yeah.
We'll do Tristan and Chloe in the next one over.
I put Bobby's article in the chat for anybody there. Just go check it out, guys. Okay.
I gotta go back and watch this chat later.
Please don't.